What happens when ambition blinds a person to loyalty, family, and even God? What does unchecked power look like, and how does it end? The Bible story of Abimelech and the Curse of Jotham, found in Judges chapter 9, is a tale of betrayal, greed, and justice, a cautionary reminder of what happens when someone pursues power at any costs. Today, we'll unpack this gripping story, exploring its twists and turns, and discovering what lessons it holds for us. Hi, welcome to Sacrificial Love, where we delve into the Bible and seek to learn lessons we can apply in our daily lives. Our story begins with Gideon, also known as Jerubbaal, one of the most famous judges of Israel. Gideon was a humble man called by God to deliver Israel from the oppression of the Midianites. Through faith and courage, he led a small army to a miraculous victory, proving that God's power doesn't depend on numbers or strength. After the victory, the people of Israel were so impressed that they wanted Gideon to become their first king. But Gideon refused. He said in Judges chapter 8 verse 23,
"I will not rule over you, neither shall my son rule over you. Yahweh shall rule over you."
Gideon's refusal showed his humility and devotion to God. But while Gideon rejected kingship, his family grew powerful. He had many wives and 70 sons, a symbol of his influence. One of these sons was different. Abimelech, born to a concubine in Shechem, had ambition that would bring tragedy to Gideon's house. Unlike his father, Abimelech wasn't content with a life of humility. He wasn't interested in serving God or his people. Abimelech wanted power, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get it. After Gideon died, Israel fell into chaos. With no clear leader, Abimelech saw an opportunity. He went to Shechem, his mother's hometown, and met with the leaders there. He played on their loyalties, saying in Judges chapter 9 verse 2,
"Please speak in the ears of all the men of Shechem. Is it better for you that all the sons of Jerubbaal, who are 70 persons, rule over you, or that one rule over you? Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh."
Abimelech's words convinced the leaders of Shechem. They saw him as one of their own, someone who would prioritize their interests. They gave him 70 pieces of silver from their temple of Baal-berith, their local idol. Abimelech used this money to hire mercenaries, men who were reckless and ruthless, perfect for his dark plans. His first move was horrifying. He gathered his hired men, and Judges chapter 9 verse 5 tells us, he went to his father's house at Opera and killed his brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal, being 70 persons on one stone. It was a calculated, brutal act to eliminate any competition. I find this so difficult to fathom. How can you kill your own flesh and blood? But one brother survived. Jotham, the youngest son, escaped and hid. Meanwhile, the men of Shechem declared Abimelech king. It was the first time someone was crowned king in Israel, and it wasn't God's doing. This wasn't a leader chosen to serve the people. It was a man who had seized power through bloodshed. But Jotham wasn't silent. He climbed on top of Mount Gerizim, overlooking Shechem, and delivered a message to the people below.
"Listen to me, you men of Shechem, that God may listen to you. The trees went out to anoint a king over themselves. They said to the olive tree, 'Reign over us.' But the olive tree said to them, 'Should I leave my fatness with which they honor God and man and go to wave back and forth over the trees?' The trees said to the fig tree, 'Come and reign over us.' But the fig tree said to them, 'Should I leave my sweetness and my good fruit and go to wave back and forth over the trees?' The trees said to the vine, 'Come and reign over us.' The vine said to them, Should I leave my new wine, which cheers God and man, and go to wave back and forth over the trees? Then all the trees said to the bramble, Come and reign over us. The bramble said to the trees, If in truth you anoint me king over you, then come and take shelter in my shade. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon.
Jotham explained the parable.
Hey, do you enjoy watching this video? Then give me a like and subscribe. Now back to the video.
The noble trees, the olive tree, the fig tree, and the vine represent worthy leaders, those who serve others and honor God. But the thorn bush or the bramble represents Abimelech, worthless, dangerous, and self-serving. In Judges chapter 9, verses 16 to 20, Jotham addresses the people of Shechem, saying,
Now therefore, if you have dealt truly and righteously, in that you have made Abimelech king, and if you have dealt well with Jerubbaal and his house, and have done to him according to the deserving of his hands, for my father fought for you, risked his life, and delivered you out of the hand of Midian. And you have risen up against my father's house today, and have slain his sons, 70 persons on one stone, and have made Abimelech, the son of his female servant, king over the men of Shechem, because he is your brother. If you then have dealt truly and righteously with Jerubbaal and with his house today, then rejoice in Abimelech, and let him also rejoice in you. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech and devour the men of Shechem and the house of Millo, and let fire come out from the men of Shechem and from the house of Millo and devour Abimelech.
After delivering this warning, Jotham fled, knowing his life was still in danger. At first, Abimelech's reign seemed secure, but as time passed, distrust grew between him and the people of Shechem. God was not pleased with how Abimelech had risen to power, and in Judges chapter 9 verses 23, we are told, God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem. The alliance began to crumble. Rebellion broke out. The men of Shechem turned against Abimelech, and Abimelech responded with brutal force. He attacked the city, destroyed it, and killed many of its people. Those who survived fled to a stronghold, seeking refuge. But Abimelech pursued them and burned the tower, killing about 1,000 men and women. Abimelech's thirst for power and vengeance drove him to the city of Thebes, where he faced similar resistance. The people fled to a strong tower, and Abimelech planned to burn it down, just as he had in Shechem. But this time, things took a different turn. As Abimelech approached the tower, a woman on the roof threw down a millstone. It struck Abimelech on the head, crushing his skull. In his final moments, Abimelech called to his young armor-bearer and said,
Draw your sword and kill me, that men not say of me, a woman killed him.
His servant obeyed, and Abimelech died. Abimelech's ambition, treachery, and cruelty led to his downfall. Jotham's curse came true. Fire consumed Abimelech and Shechem. This story is a sobering reminder that unchecked ambition and selfishness often lead to destruction. God's justice may not be immediate, but it's inevitable. True leadership isn't about seizing power, it's about serving others. And the choices we make, good or bad, always carry consequences. Choose integrity over ambition. Trust in God's justice. What other lessons do you learn from this story? Share them in the comments and let's discuss.